Hello, I'm Dr. Robert Lelouch, a board-certified OB/GYN physician with over 30 years of clinical experience. And today we're going to talk about how do you live longer when you're around menopause. So around 50 years old, this could apply to you if you're in your 40s or 50s or 60s. But what are some of the things that you can do in your life to ensure a longer and healthier life? Now, I'm not a longevity expert. However, I am often the physician who sees patients more regularly, and I feel it's important to be able to give you some tips that I have read about, that I have learned about. You're going to see a reference in the description of this video, and one of those physicians that I respect a lot, who's done a great job for this, is Dr. Peter Attia. He has a podcast called The Drive, which is excellent. He goes into great depth, and I can't recommend him highly enough. He has a lot of great information, and I don't have all the expertise that he has, but I'm going to share with you a summation and try to apply it for you as a woman around the time of menopause. Okay, so there are a few things he emphasizes that are valuable. We'll kind of go through them a little bit, and some of the other things that I emphasize. One of them is hormones and hormone replacement therapy. Should you be on estrogen hormone replacement therapy? That is a huge topic, and that the recommendations for that are evolving, and I'm purposely not going to address that specifically here, other than to say you should speak with your physician. The wave of negativity against hormones started with what's called the Women's Health Initiative in around early 2000s, like 2001, 2002, and then the pendulum is swinging the other way. So there may be a place for it in your life, and I encourage you to get a tailored answer from your OB/GYN physician. Okay, and why do I say that? Because there's a lot of ongoing experience. You're a physician who has experience and knowledge in it and is keeping up with the latest information. Okay, so that may be of benefit for you, but I'm not saying taking hormones lengthens your life, okay? But what are some general things? Well, one is eating healthy, okay? Less processed foods, more natural foods. The Mediterranean diet is what's popular now, which is more fruits and vegetables, olive oil, avocado, used to be red wine. The favorability of alcohol now is at its all-time low. Personally, if you don't drink any alcohol, don't take it up. If you do have a little bit, then keep it small. I've changed down to having 1 glass of beer or wine a week, and I would say that that's probably fine if that's where you're at. If you're, what we used to say a few years ago was 2 to 3 glasses a day if you're a man, and then it changed to 2 glasses for a woman, then 1 to 2, then 0 to 1, and now none. Okay, so little alcohol is probably the better way to go, or none at all. Make sure your blood pressure is in control. Okay, so have it checked, know that it's in control. To be honest with you, personally, when I first had one tiny reading of elevated blood pressure, I was very resistant to taking blood pressure medicine. I didn't want to acknowledge that I was at the age where it needed blood pressure medicine. But the bottom line is it works. In fact, 140/90 used to be the cutoff. It's now 130/80 to make sure you identify that's time to start paying attention, to work to get it down. But many out there agree that the sooner you are controlling blood pressure, the longer and healthier you're going to live. And we're not only talking about living longer, but we're talking about living longer healthy, so that you can do the things that you want to do, so that you're mentally sharp, so that you can still enjoy your friends and family. Okay, so we talked about keeping your blood pressure in check. Make sure your sugar's in good control. If you have diabetes, that needs to be controlled. Make sure if you're around this age that you've had a screen for that. Keep your weight in control, okay? Being overweight increases your risks of heart attack, stroke, all of those things, multiple illnesses. So keeping your weight in control, which is eating healthy, and exercise. Exercise is very important. Again, the wave has gone from cardio now to some weightlifting. You don't need to be Arnold Schwarzenegger, but you should be doing some weightlifting. Let's say you're in your 50s, 60s, 70s and you've never exercised before. You can do some. A little bit counts. You don't have to go to the gym for an hour and a half. So what could you do? Well, you can get some 1 pound weights if you've never exercised. Let's say you're 60s or 70s. Take 1 pound weights or get 2 cans of soup, okay? Stand in front of when you're watching TV, bend your knees a little bit and a little bit of a squat, put your hands up and do some curls. Not fast, do them slow. In fact, slower on the way down than the way up. How many should you do? Until you're tired, whatever the number is. You keep doing it till you're tired, okay? That will make a big difference. Then bend over a little bit and go behind, okay? And do these. That prevents the swingy arms, okay? That's for your triceps. The other was for your biceps. Build some muscle. And then do, in the squat position, do some squats. Bring your arms up and do some squats. Again, how many do? You do enough until it gets a little tiring, okay? Fast isn't the goal. Slow is fine. You might do 10, you might do 20, you might do 5, you might do 30. But if you track it, then the next time if you do a little more, you'll see you're building up some muscle, because as we age, your muscles start to atrophy, start to go away, and you lose some strength, you lose some balance, and that's how you can shorten your lifespan, okay? You can't move around, you fall, more injuries, so it's very important, okay? You also want to get good sleep. Very important to get good sleep. There is some great podcasts, a few for Dr. Peter Attia, lots of information, but I'm not going to say that you're going to have the sleep that you had when you're in your 20s, but hopefully you can keep it, get some help. That may be a case for hormone replacement therapy. Often hot flashes are the reason you're up and have poor sleep. That affects your moods, but it also affects your mental function and your risk in the future for Alzheimer's disease. So I encourage you to get some good sleep. There is a science-backed method that I use to help me get better sleep, and that is for I often hear from my patients, and unfortunately I have it too, as I wake up in the middle of the night pretty regularly, about 4 in the morning, and if I don't do something specific, I don't get back to sleep. So what do? Well, the goal, one, there are many of these techniques you can read about and look. I'm only going to go over one. This is the one that I use, okay? So if I wake up, I think of a relaxing, fun event that I had in my life that starts with the letter A. For me, it's apple picking. So when I was about 12, I went Macintosh apple picking in Michigan, and I loved them. They tasted great, and so I think of myself in as much detail as possible, walking through the orchard, climbing up a ladder, sitting up there, eating the apple, as much detail as possible. And then the goal is not to get to sleep, but to relax and enjoy that experience. You're not going to sit there and say, oh, cool, this is working, I'm about to fall asleep. No, you're instead relaxing and enjoying the experience. And then inevitably, your brain wanders. It goes off. And when you realize, oh, I'm thinking about that I have to wash the car tomorrow, or mow the lawn, or whatever is going through your mind, then that's when you come up with the next thing that's in your past, that's relaxing, that starts with the letter A, okay? And then you run out of A's, you go to B, okay? So I never know that it's working. All I can tell you is I've never had to come up with a C, okay? I always manage to get to fall asleep in that using that process. And there's some science behind that. So that's one that's very helpful, okay? Another that's important is good relationships, keep stress down. So make sure you have some friends, some family, some people you can confide in. And that's been shown to keep you all alive and well, living longer. Having a pet can often do that too. But encourage you to work on some good relationships. Hard to get everyone around you to be stress free, but certainly striving to spend time, take the time to nurture those relationships and keep them alive and well. That will help you, okay? Another that seems to go up and down in popularity is exposure to cold. So one of the recommendations I've read about that explains why people who jump in cold lakes or oceans in Japan or Norway is to expose yourself to some cold. So at the end of the shower, you're supposed to turn it down for 30 seconds to cold at an uncomfortable level. I'll be honest with you, I did that once and I don't want to live that long. I hate the cold. So, but the exposure to cold is supposed to be helpful. So if you can do that, great. But what I do instead is when it's winter and I get out of my car, I don't put my jacket on and I get that exposure to cold. So something to think about. So we talked about good sleep, blood pressure, sugar control, exercise, good nutrition, keeping alcohol down, cholesterol, keeping your cholesterol down. So make sure you get some labs and be sure that you're following some basic labs that your gynecologist or your family physician can keep track of. If you're in an area without too much sunlight, be careful about low vitamin D. That affects your energy levels. That might be something you need to supplement. I find it commonly in the Midwest where there's less sun exposure, where my patients are low in vitamin D. I take a vitamin D supplements. There's a myriad of supplements. I'm not going to get into all of those details, but I can tell you that a lot of patients benefit from vitamin D3. So trying to think of all the list. I think I've covered the main areas. I will have some references for you. There's lots that you can learn and read about, an endless amount. I'll give you some good references, but I hope this gave you an overall goal of some things that you can modify in your life. And if you take home anything from this, and that is to remember the most important thing is exercise. And I have a whole separate video on exercise and losing weight. And what I found to be the best exercise is the one that you like. Because if you like it, you're going to do it. Not because I told you to or you're supposed to, but because it's a key part of your life, and make it social. So tonight I'm going to play tennis with my friends because I absolutely love it. It's 90s, hot and humid. Don't like that. But the social part and the health, the exercise is key to living a long and healthy life. So please leave your comments. Thank you.